Head unit is all mounted, displays are working, AC is working, all good and going. Morning guys, how's it going? Holden VE Commodore. If you watched my last video, you know that we're going to be installing a head unit with a fitting kit and 2 Rockford active subs into this car. If you didn't watch my last video, here's just a brief rundown. Alpine X008 AU, Alpine Holden VE Commodore fitting kit, 2 Rockford P300 12s. These are active 12-inch subwoofer enclosures with an amp built onto the side of them. Completely disconnectable. Oh, and the other thing we're also doing is we're putting these grills on the parcel tray and popping out the blanks where the factory 6x9s would normally go, and that's going to allow the subwoofer, like the sub bass, to funnel through the parcel tray into the cabin. So without further ado, all I've got to do is a bit of testing on the factory system and then I'll get into installing the new ones. So in this video guys, I'm going to try and go into a decent amount of detail at the head unit end. I know I did that in my last series with the VE Commodore as well, but hopefully this will all just be one big video as opposed to a whole lot of separate ones like the last VE Commodore. So I'm just going to quickly run through how to, like, you know, obviously take this all apart and, you know, what I do to get the new stereo in there. First thing is we need to have that in drive so that it's not in the way. Now with the VE Commodores, this whole faceplate literally just pops off, and it can be a bit tough, but so as long as you're just gentle with it. There's one side, the other. There's the top corner. There we go. So as you can see, there's 4 pops on here, and this is the connector here for the controls and the power and everything like that, and then the CD slot, and then you're left with the chassis here. Next thing I'm going to do is take the whole chassis of the stereo out past, but you've got to be careful because these metal wings can scrape on the inside of this plastic here. It's not something you want to do. You're going to be nice and careful with it. And there are 4 screws holding the chassis in. Obviously before you take the factory head unit out, you need to, as I did, you know, test all the functions of this whole thing. Obviously the hazard lights, all the heater controls, and eject any CDs that are in there. Otherwise you won't be able to get them back out afterwards. Something you do have to do first before you take the head unit out is you actually have to take these big long side trims here off the side of the center console so that you can get to the sides of the head unit here, because on this side you have an aerial plug which has to be unplugged, and on this side is a great big quad lock plug, or the main harness, has to be unplugged before you can actually take this out. So on the passenger side you take this big long piece out, it literally just pops down, the big long piece under here, and then next the glove box has to come out. 2 screws at the bottom, 5 along the top. And then it just unpops, but don't drop it because it's got cables connected to it. So you don't have to disconnect it from the actual plug for the boot switch. If you follow it a bit further over the back, there is a plug which is just in here behind this piece of metal here, which you can get at. Take the glove box out. So now in the side here you can see we can get to the first of a few things that need to be unplugged. This one here is our aerial, so you just push your finger in there and push down a wee bit. There we go. So yeah, it's just a clip-in type, and that's the passenger side done. So same on the driver's side, you want to pop down this big long trim that is along the side of the center console, like that. Lift it out. Now the next thing we need to get down is the big kick panel that is that your knee sits on. Side trim off the right hand side. Sometimes it's easier to take this silver trim off first, but you just have to be very careful when you do it because it is very thin. You use a pry bar and just carefully wriggle the pops out of place. Like that. Very, very careful, because the chances are that this has been in the whole time the car has been in service, and the plastic pieces are very brittle by this point. Now it should be a wee bit easier to get this piece down if you just pull on it. No screws holding this one in, it's just entirely popped in. Probably does help to take this kick panel off from underneath as well, which also just pops out. 2 screws you have to remove that hold the OBD plug in. Make sure you retrieve any of these that stay in the hole and don't come off with the panel, because otherwise the panel won't pop back on. Now we can take this thing off. Pops out, there we go. Okay, so here's the right hand side. This here, this is the quad lock plug. See if I can get a torch on there. So this here is the main harness. To get it out, you just have to pinch this point here and pull this lever up like that, and then it just slides out, and that's it. Now the head unit will just slide out. So now the head unit is completely free, and we should be able to just slide it out like that. One unit. So that, guys, is the complete dismantlement of like the whole front end of the VE Commodore. But I'm going to go a step further. You can normally just work from this point, but I'm going to go a bit further because I like to, you know, have a bit more space to work with, and also I can know a good place to hide the GPS aerial for the stereo that I'm doing. So I'm actually going to take this whole centerpiece out as well, which is just a wee bit more work. Okay, so to get this big centerpiece out, first thing I want to do is just carefully lift up this grill at the top for the center speaker. So for this grill, you want to get at it from the back, not the front, because it has tongues. So you get at it from the back with a nice hook-shaped pry bar, and then just sort of carefully, because you don't want it to come launching out at you, pop it up like that, and then follow around the sides. So this top grill has 5 pops in it, 2 big tongues at the front, as well as 2 smaller tongues on the outer corners. Often when I take these off, these 2 smaller outer ones, as you can see, I've already broken one off and broken this one a wee bit. That's usually inevitable, just because of the angles and things to get it out, but usually you can do it without breaking the 2 front ones, and even if they all broke, the 4 pops would still hold it in, so it's usually not that big of a deal. So that's the top grill, 5 pops. Now what I need is my stubby Phillips screwdriver, and there are 2 screws up the top here. Good thing about these Holdens is that they use the same screws pretty much everywhere throughout the car, so you don't have to be too concerned. You don't have to like worry too much about putting the wrong screws back in the wrong place, because they're all pretty universal. Now there is also 2 screws here to the left and right of the center unit, center trim. One there, one there, and also 2 silver ones at the bottom here. Now these silver ones obviously are different, so you just want to make sure you put those back where you found them, but they're pretty easy to tell the difference. In fact, sorry, no, there's actually 4 silver ones. There's 2 more up in the top corners here as well. So all you have to remember is that the silver screws go in the very top corners of the opening and at the bottom below the stereo. And I believe that that is all the screws holding it in. So next, I'm going to work my way from the top. I like to sort of just get my hand behind it and pull it slowly back towards me. Be very careful though, because it is brittle and it will just unpop itself. Before you take all this out though, you do have to get out this little pocket at the bottom here, because it is actually underneath that. So take out the rubber piece. All of this along here has to lift up as well. Doesn't have to come completely out, but just has to lift up. So you can start from the front here, get your pry bar under, and again just very carefully pry it up. This silver piece comes off. After you've got the silver piece off, just keep working your way along with the pry bar. Yeah, like that. This is a very, very thin bit of plastic, so be extra careful. And it finishes at the cup holders, where there are 2 more pops, like that one, there. Okay. Now you can sort of lift it up, disconnect the traction control button, and disconnect the window and central locking buttons, and then lift it all up out. So as you can see, it is a very thin little bit of plastic, so just be very careful. And now there are two silver screws holding in this plastic pocket, and then the pocket should just lift and pop out. The pocket has 2 pops at the back. You just gotta gently wriggle them out. Can be difficult though. There's 1. There's 2. So yeah, pocket, 2 screws, 2 pops at the back. And now this whole center unit is completely free to lift up and out. Okay, so the way this is held in is there are pops coming up from this piece here into this. So you kind of have to like wriggle one side at a time. You can get your hand in and actually feel the pop and push down on it. There we go, there's one side up, and then this side, you might have to, it's really hard to do it from this position. Push down on the pop and pull up on the trim. There we go, it's free now. Pretty much. Sometimes they like to pop themselves back in for a laugh. There we go, it's loose. Now we just got to disconnect the screen, unplug the screen from the back. Then you also got to, this is one time when you can't get away from the cable tie pops. You've got to unpop this one and it lifts out. There we go. And what I'm doing is I'm actually removing the screen from the back of this trim panel here, because what I want to do is get the stereo all wired up and going and check the functionality of everything first before I put this back on. But once I have checked that and it is going and everything, I do then have to obviously remove the stereo, put this back in its place on this trim, put this whole piece back on, and then the stereo goes back on, goes back in finally once we know it is all working and good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug this back in up here and just sort of sit it up there. That's a good spot for it. And then this big piece we can take out of the car. So what we want to do now, guys, is get these 4 metal clips off the back of the factory faceplate here, because what those are going to do is they're going to be involved in holding the new trim kit onto this aftermarket stereo, and then we can put this away. So usually just a little flat blade screwdriver is all you need. Oh, my bad, these are actually plastic, so just, yeah, be careful. As always, be careful. Lay this down. You guys should be able to see that. There we go. Get 4 of those off. 4. So now we can put this back on here, and it's not going to clip on, it's just going to sit on, because now it hasn't got any clips holding it on. But just be careful, because you do still have those pins to line up. Now I'm going to put this away somewhere where it's not going to get damaged. So don't lose those, because you don't get any more of them. There's only 4, there's no spares anywhere. So the next step is going to be to put the head unit in the mounting bracket. Done. Right, so some time has passed now. I've just been recharging the GoPro because I did quite a long recording that first time. I've used the time to install the hands-free microphone down to here where it's bundled up, and also the GPS aerial, which is up here on its little magnetic sticker. And I have also plugged it all in, got it mounted and stuff, and tested it, and we're all good to go. Everything works, but obviously I have to take it back out now so I can refit this whole big dash piece and then put the stereo in, because unfortunately that has to go in after the big dash piece. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put that back on, get the head unit in and mounted, and then we'll be good to go. And after I've got the head unit done, I'll pretty much just be running the RCA cables, which I have already, the other day I pre-loomed all this stuff up to go. At the moment, Grant is just working in the boot area here. He's got it all stripped and everything, and he's working on a nice fuse holder mount to go in here somewhere, where we're going to put our fuse holder, which is going to be a T-spec dual mini A&L fuse holder. So now I'm just going to put it back together and then get the head unit in. Okay guys, jumping ahead a wee bit now. Sorry I didn't film it, but as you know, these things are just a bastard to get in the car. And it makes sense because it fits like crazy, too close. It's just like, I'm all for making things look good, but man, margins of error is just nothing. There's no wiggle room. Getting it in there was real hard, and also so many cables to have to deal with on both sides. But anyway, it's in there, looks good, it's going. I've put some stuff back together, just jumping forward, using my time wisely. And so now I'm pretty much ready, got the head unit good to go. Now I pretty much just need to start running the RCAs down the side of the car and connecting them into the boot, where Grant has already started doing some stuff. So he's got a nice fuse holder here, a couple of 4-gauge wires coming off, they'll connect to the subs. And then I've also got to do these on the parcel tray. Okay, so I've got the RCAs run, they're just popping up through this hole here in the corner into the trunk. Then they run down along the base of the floor. If I open this up, you can you can't really see them, but they're right at the very bottom there, under this rail, along the very bottom, up and behind, and then they pop out just here, which is perfect for reaching to the head unit. Okay guys, so now, sorry for having to like skip ahead in bits and pieces and things like that. It's really just a fact that I've said this in my other videos, it is really hard to kind of set up the shots each time and film them while I'm trying to work. I really need a cameraman or something like that, but we all know Pat's not going to pay for that. Where I'm at now, stereo is in. I've got the little hazard light switch mounted down under, if you can see it. Oops. This is what I'm talking about. See, it's really hard to sort of. So yeah, got the stereo done, the RCA's are run, USB cable, there's the remote thing that we're gonna have powering, controlling both of the subs. We already checked with the supplier, and you can just connect the two cables to a splitter like this and control both of them off the one, so that's going to be good. I'm probably going to mount that somewhere around under here. I'm leaving the glove box out for now until I've got the kit on, so I know where I'm mounting the remote. But what I need to start working on now is taking this parcel tray off and getting those grills mounted onto it. This is where Grant's at. I think I showed you this before. He's got this power connected to here, goes in, 2 fuses in there, and then it goes off to the power cable, which we've yet to cut. Got the separate RCA inputs, remote wire and remote controller wire there. He's just doing the ground wires at the moment. But yeah, I need to start doing those grills. The other reason that, you know, I haven't been able to film as much as often is I always underestimate how much time it takes to set up these shots and film them and everything like that, and that really does eat into your day when you've told the customer it's only going to be like a day-long job. Last thing you want to do is make them have to wait another day just so that you can film the process. Because I do this, you know, for me and for you guys. It's not something that my work promotes or puts on. I just do this independently myself, so I can't be cutting into extra work time or taking up you know, extra customer hours for these sorts of projects. So I'm going to go get the parcel tray now. Okay. Before. After. Good to go back in the car. Do you have a cable? One. There we go. Done. Leaping ahead, guys. I'm sorry, I know the filming is all over the place. Car's done. Head unit is all mounted, displays are working, AC is working, all good and going. Parcel tray looks good, got the grills on there. Hard to see because it's tinted. And then the subs as well. Now, you guys can't really see it because of all the shit in the boot. So we got 2 active Rockford P3 12-inch subs, and they are secured with Velcro. That sounds a wee bit rangy, but it actually works really well. So there's hook side Velcro on the bottom of them, which stops them sliding, and there's another strip along the back which secures them to this rail at the back here. And that's all that's really meant to do, is stop the G-forces from acceleration from making them fly backwards. If you wanted to move them, you could. You just gotta give it a good pull and unvelcro it. But otherwise it works really good just for holding it against the G-forces of acceleration. And that's it, guys. That's pretty much the job done. It wasn't a huge one, although it has taken us a whole day. The main reason for that is just because of that head unit side of things. So they are really, I mean, every time, like, it's a wee bit difficult, and it's mainly just time that it takes a long time to do them. That's the other thing. Oh yeah, if you can see in here, Grant's made that. So there's the fuse holder just there, 1 4-gauge in, 2 out. So I think I'm probably just going to end the video here, guys, just because I'm going to try and, you know, edit what I can with what I've filmed. I realised that the filming today just hasn't been on point. It's been all over the place, and I've been jumping from part to part, and yeah, that really, there's not much I can do about that. It's nearly 5 o'clock now, and we're running out of time. The customer's got to pick it up. The last one of these we had it for 4 days. This one we've had it for 1 day. So we've really been rushed to get it all done. But I really just want to say, yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys, and thanks for supporting the channel. I'm now over, you know, some 550 odd subscribers, which I'm stoked about. It's an amount I couldn't imagine having, you know, like 6 months ago. Hopefully I'll, you know, crack 1,000 sometime soon. Quite keen for that. So if you like this video, guys, please give it a like or leave a comment and say hi. I don't mind, you know, answering questions about the setup. And if this is your first time on my channel and you enjoy car audio, definitely hit the subscribe button and check out some of my other videos, and let your mates know as well. Tell them come check out my channel, check out some car audio stuff. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.